I have no idea what town we're in, but we're by Fuente de Santiago, so it sounds official.
It does, and it's a beautiful spring, and you can hear maybe the little trickle of water in the background. So welcome to the Camino with Storytelling, Jillian. And you spent the last 10 minutes telling us an absolutely amazing story about why you're here.
Yeah. So I'm here on the Camino Primitivo to honor my good friend Chris, who basically lived on the Camino for many, many years, sometimes illegally overstaying his visa. And he was a true pilgrim. I say that because he basically was out here with nothing. I mean, no money, just the gear on his back, which was very well worn. And he did a lot of work trade. That's how he survived out here, as he would swing into some albergues and offer to help serve and work and clean or cook, or, I mean, he did every job. I don't think he ever earned any money, but he would definitely get fed and a roof over his head for a few days, sometimes a few months, sometimes a few years. Then he would start walking again. So he's done, I don't even know, I kind of lost track, but I think if it was anything Camino, he had set foot on it at some point in the last 10 years, I would say. He, unfortunately, just a little over 2 years ago, he passed away suddenly. He had just come back to the U.S. to be with his family. Interestingly enough, he had this sense that his dad was going to pass away. He had this really strong sense that his dad had been getting older and not in the best of health. And he had gone home to Portland to reconnect with his family, and namely his dad. And he ended up having we think either it was a heart attack or a stroke, I don't know, but something that killed him in a second. And he was 49 years old and in the best shape. I mean, the healthiest person on the planet. It was really shocking to get that news. Yeah, I flew home for his memorial service. It was a celebration of the life service, and I shared some stories about Chris and the Camino and what I knew. And a lot of his friends and family at home just knew he was out on this this thing called the Camino, but they had no idea really what it was about. Or, they just it seemed like this, almost like a fairy tale in a way. And when I was explaining a little bit about the Camino and being with Chris on the Camino, we walked the Camino del Norte. I don't know if I mentioned that, but we walked the Camino del Norte in 2012. And that was my first Camino. That was the first time he walked on the Norte as well. And that was just incredible. One of the best experiences of my life, or the best memories made with Chris. And we had a lot of great memories, a lot of great adventures. And that was one of the top of the great adventures that we had. Anyway, telling stories to his family and his friends about it. And then I got the idea that when we were walking on the Camino del Norte, we'd get to some epic lookout, and we would always say, and then there was a bench. After walking the Camino, my WhatsApp messages from Chris, we were sending pictures of benches all over the world and just sharing pictures of benches with amazing viewpoints and saying how and then there's a bench. So I had this idea at his service to put a memorial bench somewhere on the Camino, and I was really just determined to do that. And so I started a crowdfunding campaign and raised some money. And I thought I was just going to raise some money to get some standard old, I don't know, all the benches we see out here, just a simple wood bench. But then I thought, I want to make something really special, something really epic. Because Chris was epic. The way he lived his life is just epic. And so I started, I think it was on Instagram one night when I couldn't sleep, doom scrolling. And then I was maybe I can search, I don't know. I think I found this guy on Instagram, but I found this guy named Eugenio, who is a chainsaw wood sculptor who lives, I don't even know, somewhere in Asturias.
Okay.
And he's an artist, a legit artist, and does these incredible benches. So I slid into his DMs and I was asking him about, would he be interested in doing a memorial bench? And he was sure, send me your thoughts on what could be on it. And I was okay, now, after seeing what he could create, I'm I could go crazy. So I sent him some ideas saying that I really wanted to have Yoda, because Yoda is the wise one. And Chris always carried even with so few belongings, he always carried with him little laminated pictures of Yoda was one of them. One of them was George Clinton.
George Clinton?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Like Master of Funk.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Singer. You have to look him up.
I'm culturally challenged.
Santa was another one.
I know Santa.
And the Dalai Lama.
Yep.
And a picture of himself as a little kid, which I thought was really cool and sweet. So to remember kind of beginner's mind and being a child and having that quality. So yeah, so I thought, okay, maybe Yoda sitting in lotus position would be a good start for this bench design and a challenge for Eugenio to make. And so, yeah, the bench has Yoda and a shell, a conch shell for the Camino, and some Tibetan prayer flags that Chris's very first Camino, he walked the Camino Frances with a group of people their mission was to spread the word about freeing Tibet. So he carried this gigantic Tibetan prayer flag all the way down the Camino, and there's pictures of him on the steps of the cathedral with this flag that's like 3 stories tall. So that had to be on there. A ladybug to represent him. I feel like ever since he died, I've been seeing ladybugs everywhere, and he always saw ladybugs. He thought they had some kind of like magical, like almost like a maternal quality or something to them. So ladybugs are part of it, and a rose to represent Portland, the city of roses, and a quote from Hafiz, which I won't recite, but a beautiful quote that he had sent to me on WhatsApp, and I wanted to include that. So Eugenio worked his magic, and he just sent me pictures last night of the finished piece, and it's incredible, and I got really teary-eyed, and I feel teary now, but it feels like if Chris were a bench, this is it. It very much like represents him in many ways. And I also think about like, man, if we were walking the Camino and just came across this bench with Yoda on it, and it's so ridiculous, I can only imagine the delight that we would have, and that we would spend a lot of time sitting on it and enjoying the view. So it'll be placed on May 2nd. Actually, yesterday would have been Chris's 52nd birthday. So we started walking on the Primitivo yesterday, which felt really significant. But on May 2nd, Eugenio is going to drop it off on the Camino, right at the split where the Camino splits. You can take a right and go on the Hospitales route, up in like a higher route, or you can split and go left and go down to Pole de Alande. And I think it's a good spot because it's like a place where you really have to think about how you're feeling and which way you want to go. And there's a nice sign there, and there's a marker there, and there's a great spot for a bench, but there's no bench. So there soon will be Yoda, and I'm psyched to sit on it. I'm psyched to see it in person, and I hope that people get a laugh out of it, and I hope that people enjoy it, and I really hope that his friends and family that have been dreaming about the Camino or curious about even just knowing Chris and getting closer to him now that he's gone. I think the best way is to come and walk and experience it. That's my story. That's amazing. Chris's story, really, but yeah.
That's Chris's story, and wherever you are out there listening to this, if you sit on a bench, think of Chris.
Especially with Yoda.
Especially with Yoda.
And don't tell anybody that it was me if the city comes looking for whoever put this bench out there, because we didn't get permission. We're just asking for forgiveness. It's an illegal bench.
It wasn't you, it was someone with a different name.
Yeah, exactly. We're all using aliases.
Talking about aliases, and you mentioned the sweet thing about a hashtag.
Oh, yeah. So I added the hashtag Camino Yoda to this memorial plaque that's part of the whole bench. And it would be fun to see people like take pictures of themselves and tag it Camino Yoda. We'll see what happens.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Jillian, for coming on the Camino with Storytelling.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And that was the Camino with Storytelling with me, Ronni, and this time the amazing Jillian. And as a postscript to this wonderful episode, a few days later, in the morning haze, I came across the now set up Yoda bench, and it truly, just like Chris, is epic. I sat down there on the bench, had a look at the view, and thought of the wonderful friendships that lead to such beautiful beautiful things. And I recommend that you too hike the Camino Primitivo. Come to the bench, have a sit down, think of Chris. Thank you again for listening, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.